Jesus bless. Hello. Listen, we are gonna talk, okay? Because today is the premiere of Toy Story 5, and also I was watching a makeup review for Bad Baby. Catch her outside. How about that? We'll fucking play. What is that song she sings? That's really a vibe. Anyways, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna do my face and we're gonna talk, okay? Oops. So I just washed my face. I'm starting with this glow serum by Glow Recipe, their watermelon. And yeah, so listen, Toy Story been out since I was a child. And the main characters are like Buzz Lightyear, Woody the cowboy, and along the way they introduce other characters. So I think it was like the second movie they introduced Jessie, who's a cowgirl. And she was kind of like a supporting character. However, they have her as some kind of main character in this one. This is the milk primer that we were talking about earlier. It gives kind of like a matte finish. Anyway, it would have probably been really good for earlier when I was on the road. However, it's fine. So yeah. They start the movie with a bunch of Buzz Lightyear cars. And listen, Buzz Lightyear, if you don't like spoilers, go somewhere else. Buzz Lightyear is very arrogant in himself. Like, he thinks he's the cat's pajamas, and I can understand where he's coming from, because he's like look how we're talking about galactic stuff earlier. He's like a galactic character because he's from like space. He can fly, he has whatever. And so, all right, foundation. Actually, let's go in with our eyeshadow, because the person who's inspiring this makeup look, their eyeshadow was prominent, honey. Okay, so I don't have, like they did yellow and pink, I don't have as bright a yellow as they do. Ideally, I'd have some kind of eye primer. Maybe if I had like a white, like I could probably go on top of that and it would make this yellow kind of pop a little bit more. This is Honey from the Winnie the Pooh palette, also Disney. Not Pixar though. Anyway, so these Buzz Lightyears, you know, they look up into the sky and they see stars and they're inspired, which is cute, you know, in the sense that Jesus gave us beautiful stars. However, we're clearly not to be misled by them, and these characters were, because they follow it, like, you know, like the wise men in the Bible, they follow the star, and it was helpful because it helped them to reunite with whoever they needed to reunite with, to save whoever needed to be saved. My thing is, you know what I could have probably done is start with this white one from Hello Kitty, and then put the yellow on top of it. It's fine though. So they're almost like worshiping it, because at one point they're bowing down to the person with the star on their clothes. A star that in one scene Woody literally peel it off with a spoon. Like, so something detachable, something pliable, something, you know, not Jesus. Misleading. Remember, these are children. It's a children movie. I can understand adults might be there not just to take their kids to watch it, to like reminisce because they probably grew up watching it as well. All right, so there's that. The next thing, now Toy Story, the theme, I'm probably gonna stop because let me actually just go in with this one from Wet n Wild because it's like a collab, because I could brighten it up a little bit, and I don't want to be sitting here tapping all day trying to pack it on, and I don't think it's really going to achieve that look necessarily. Maybe if I had used my fingers it would have gotten it on like more, but whatever. So like a common experience these toys have is being replaced. Like the cowgirl, she has had multiple owners in her little lifetime and whatever, and it's traumatizing to them. They end up in a box, they end up in a garage, they end up on some car ride, they might get given to somebody else, they're mistreated by the kids, like flinging them, breaking them, having them look crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I can understand when kids play with toys, it's not always glamorous. It's just kind of like these toys be going through it. My thing is, think though, you know, different kids, like 2 different kids are playing with the toy. One of them, there's a bomb. One of them, there's poisoning, somebody get poisoned. If you have a child and they're playing with toys and that's what they're doing, they need to go to juvie. I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. Like, it's disappointing because that stuff people should pay attention to. That's how people become psychopaths. The fuck? It's premeditation. It's practice. If you keep putting that kind of mindset out there, which goes against the commandments of Jesus, which is hurting each other and not loving each other, what do you think is gonna happen? You're creating little reprobates. You know, there's a scene where, and there's a lot of neglect in the show, like parental neglect. There's a scene called this one now, bringing AI and tech, which good if you're progressing with the times, do it in a positive light, please. Do you get what I'm saying? So anyways, there's a scene where the toy is used, the AI toy, to communicate. They have a little chat that they speak to them one another, the kids, and they're bullying one of them because she plays with toys. Now, the same little AI iPad that she's playing with is a fucking toy. So whoever is the parents should have let the kids know that, because those kids are looking stupid. When you see the picnic dead off in the corner, don't try to blame anybody. Were you paying attention when your child was being bullied? After the fact, the lady gonna turn off the chat. I don't know if she even read it properly. You know, she have her picnic driver go away to some ranch to go and get the toys, and lo and behold, when she reach, the little girl all of a sudden is very forlorn, very fucking sad, depressed, doesn't want to get the toys anymore, is denying that she even plays with them and all this shit. Pay attention to your kids. Bruh, I'm not getting it as defined because also I just don't have the fucking time. I'm only really doing the makeup because I was inspired by the video. One second, I forgot to put on I put it on earlier. Like, so I'm not concerned. Yeah, the child then pay. All right, all right, all right. Camaraderie. There was such a lack of camaraderie in this movie, in the sense that the toys would turn against them one another, and they're abusing each other like violently, like killing each other. There's a scene where the iPad Woody comes out of the fucking woodworks. I'm using the Chanel foundation. Come out of wherever the fuck he was at, doing whatever the fuck he's doing, and team up. He barely knows the iPad, and he's teaming up with the toys to destroy the iPad, to the point where they plug it out, so when the battery dies, the iPad is dead. That's murder, bro. That's fucking murder. What are you teaching kids? It's not about get back and tit for tat type shit. If you are a proper parent, your child will learn to play with both. They need the little dolly them and whatever little gadget toys for manual dexterity, to learn how to use their hands. When people grow up, they become farmers, they become tailors for clothing, they become engineers. If all you're doing is teaching them to sit and tip, 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 tap, tap, that's not proper development. I'm not saying their brain isn't learning something. I'm saying there's more to it, especially when they're small like that. They need it. They're not just gonna grow up one day and just automatically know how to use their joints and shit. Another thing, we talked about parental negligence. There's a kid that lives on a ranch, and before, I don't want to even forget, I mean, I wrote stuff down. I don't think I wrote this one down though. The toys, like, what they'll do is they will get up like when nobody's watching and move around and do stuff. And then if a human is coming, they just like lie down or whatever, or freeze in their position. There's a literal scene where the girl has the iPad on the bed, and the doll goes up there to fuss with the iPad, like in a bad way, to go and fuck with it. And then the little girl is coming, and then she just threw down herself. The little girl, like, teach your kids to pay attention. If the child come in and say that she wasn't, she who don't play with toys anymore, and because her friends at school or whoever the fuck, and then she come and she see the toy on the bed, what does that say? Either somebody was in your room, or your toys are possessed, or they have life. She's rude. Her parents are talking to her. She's not listening. It's not like she's a big grayback 18-year-old or something who starts smell themselves and think them reach. She's a young, small child, less than 9 years old. Manners. I don't want to hear nobody mouth. It's a cartoon. It's fiction. Be fucking for real. Kids, they're little sponges. People say that because there's some kind of truth to it. They observe what's going on around them, and they pick up on certain things, and they adapt it to their own behavior. And it's not always obvious. Just like as they are growing in their little bodies, their mindset is growing and developing, their habits, what they do. So, all right. Before I go to what I was gonna tell you, there's a scene. I feel like, I mean, there's a little bit left in. The thing with this concealer is either a whole heap gonna come out or barely anything at all. I'm not really getting anything, and I'm not going to sit here and fight with it. So I'm going to going with my Tower 28. Read the Tower of Babel in the Bible, by the way. People who think them know, and you know, you might have the resources to do certain things. If it goes against God, you're not gonna reach nowhere. As a matter of fact, you're gonna be struck with blood clot confusion. The person whose makeup I'm emulating, they started with just foundation and concealer, and then they did the eyeshadow. I typically do my eyeshadow first because I want to avoid fallout of the shadows, like wherever. So yeah, these Buzz Lightyears, they don't even know really where they're going, what they're doing. They're just trying to follow this star. And you know, one of the opening scenes, they're in a like a natural environment, and there's a crab minding its business, and they're pointing their lasers at it. So if I am turning on the light, and usually when Buzz does that, he's trying to like destroy the thing. It's not a friendly gesture. So them no know what them a do, and them just a run around and a point laser at people in a them little army. Shut, like, what are you teaching kids, bro? At no point were they checked. Oh, I need to get the lights on. That's what I said I was gonna do before. My phone. So another thing. This is the thing I was gonna tell you. One of the children in the movie has a pet pig. Not just that, she has a horse as well. Dangerous creatures. If you watch Black Beauty and what the next one name again? For me, I don't have to watch movie. I literally have been in a stable with a horse, as you know, to give it treatment for, you know, and the horse is wilding in there, bro, like trample type shit. Like if you're not careful, like God is good. I know people who have been hospitalized. There's people, you know, there's celebrity, I don't want to, you know, who are hurt because of horses. They weigh over 1,000 pounds on average, bro. Your typical human being weighs 100 something pounds. If you're a big strapping nigga, you're not overweight, you're just like brolic, you're probably like a couple 100 pounds. You're still much lighter than a fucking horse, unless you are Nephilim from Genesis. I don't see her parents with her around this horse. No time in this film. That is grounds for CPS to come get your ass. Wicked fuck. The pigs will eat you. People feed people to pigs. Pigs are non-discriminant when it comes to their diet. They're dangerous. There's a scene when she wake up in the morning and the pig is right there, and she's talking about breakfast or whatever the fuck. If you're in real life, like, don't try that shit at home. If you're in real life and you have a small child, you should not leave them unsupervised with any animal, period. Especially a man-eating animal, bro. It's upsetting. It's not a game. It's not a fucking joke. The Bible tells you, do not cast your pearls to pigs. They'll trample them. And they have hoofs and shit, so it doesn't hurt. They don't give a fuck. They wallow in mud. Thick dirt. Think. I feel like there was something else that came to my mind that I probably didn't write down. And yeah, so I think I said it already. Children, if that's how they play, they need to go to juvie. They need to go to rehab. They need to see a psychologist. They need to speak to somebody. They should not be left unattended by themselves. Messages being sent, not the kids sending it, and action is being taken. The parents are driving them around the place, moving the toys all over the place. And then after you do it, and then your partner is like, oh, why did you do it? And then the picnic, you're like, the picnic told me to do it. And then the picnic is like, I didn't tell you to do it. You think this is ring games to play with children? That's not how it works. I'm not gonna go back and forth with my child like, you didn't tell me to do. I'm not fucking doing that, bro. What the fuck? All right. The closing scene. Not the closing scene. Sometimes there'll be a scene at the end of the movie, and like after the credits roll, and usually it's to signify a sequel. So sometimes people get excited. Usually I stick around. Me and my mom like to sit and watch because you never know. They don't usually announce it at the beginning. Wait till the end, after the credits roll, to see what else could be coming up. And in this case, the kids were like, it started again. So some of the parents packing up, walking out, and the kids are seeing more stuff is happening. And this part was dangerous as fuck. They have the kids in a playground, and out the clear blue sky, there comes, and before I talk that, because I didn't write this one down, those Buzz Lightyears pop up at this warehouse plant looking area, and somebody's coming and they just fall down, and they're, like I said, they seem like they don't really know what's going on. It looked like a shipment of them that got thrown out or some shit, like discarded or forgotten about. So they don't really know too much what to do. And a guy walks up, they fall down, and after he leaves, they get up and they're kind of like, why did that happen? Like, why did we just fall down like that? I don't know. So anyways, the person sees them and opts to leave them there. He sees just a box, and so he's like, I'm not cleaning that up or whatever. If he works there, he would typically know. Look, they never disclosed what was at that plant. So it could have been a bunch of toys that they sell there and package and ship or whatever. However, if that's not the case, my nigga, do something. There could have been a whole fucking revolution destroying him and their whole operation, because they were operating a whole crane, and somebody did see it. It could have been him, and the person was kind of like, but them still never paid no mind. You cannot be that baffan, especially if you're working with machinery. Like how them quick for say you're not to operate machinery if you're drunk or if you're pregnant or if you smoke or whatever the fuck shit. They take certain medications. Them quick for tell people. people who are very willing and able some of the time. I'm not here to really talk about that. So anyways, these kids are in the playground and the toys pop up on them. The Buzz Lightyears, they come from the sky and they're flying, and they have blades that are spinning rapidly. Like you can tell, because if you study physics and stuff like that, if blades are spinning, if you have like two, or if you look at a fan and it has multiple blades, when it's spinning, if it's spinning very fast, you can't really count how many wings are there. And they're descending on these kids and they're catching them with their little fucking fingers. That if you're realistic, it's not safe, bruh. It can chop them off type shit. I've literally seen that before. A little kid in school, he showed up, like, and his finger was hanging off. And the thing about children, that's why you have to watch them, because they get into stuff, they do stuff that they don't really know any better. Sometimes that the way how they know is after the bad shit happened to them. Those who don't hear feel. That's what I grew up hearing. So the person puts on like a coral colored blush. Oh, my case. I didn't close it. I don't. Maybe we can use Tigger as a kind of blush. And so, the kids, they catch the toys and they look excited and happy and whatever. Good for them. It's not about that. One of the kids out of, at the corner of the playground, he's probably the outcast, the black sheep. They probably bully him so he don't talk to nobody. And he pulls out the villain out of his backpack. And remember, the Buzz Lightyear them did ignorant from a long time. A whole blood clot revolution can start on the play. All the teacher see toy come from outer sky and just catch it and just go in with the fucking flow. Bruh, what are you teaching the children? I'm pretty much done. There's another scene where there's multiple of them. Like when I talk about a lack of camaraderie. Camaraderie is like when people come together as friends, working together for goodness. Sometimes it could be in a time of strife and battle and whatever. One of the toys, Jessie, she bring the horse through all this shit. He's not as able-bodied as she. He's literally soft. You can tell him soft because at one point his joints were buckling, bro. And she have this horse running and climbing and doing all this. That's why you have to follow Jesus only and don't follow a friend. Because at the end of the day, when people help her, she still turn around and cuss them and pushing them and till them I feel pain and hurt and sad. That's not the kind of values you should be teaching children. Do you understand? Once again, who check them? Nobody no check them. Nobody no. If it's gonna happen, at least let there be a segment where it's properly addressed that it's wrong. The alien toys, they didn't bring them back for this movie. Whatever. There's a scene where the Buzz Lightyears are in the woods and humans are approaching, and so they hide, and one of them got stuck where he was. So he just laid there. And a kid was in the group and picked it up and took it with him. Later on, you see them lock up in there in a tent doing whatever, and the kid have the toy. Hug up, hug up. If you are a parent and you see you're in the fucking woods and you're picnic take up a toy, that's how you just gonna have them keep it like that? And the whole time is a wicked ass toy. It's an evil toy who just seeks to destroy, really. It has no sense of reasoning. If it was the swarm of them and their little lasers actually did something, they would be fucked. And they left him. I never see him back again. Maybe he flew away when the kid wasn't looking at some point. However, like, people need to pay attention. In times when people can hack and there's information being shared and spread and stuff like that, pay attention to what your children are doing.